terrorist and the potato.
Hello! Alright folks, Sonja. Alright, today we're going away a bit Scottish. We're going to go off to Loch Drummond, have a look at the new track for Rfactor 2. Because today is all about updates, and I'm going to quit doing this Scottish accent because I'm no good at it, and if you're Scottish you're probably offended, so sorry about that. Hello folks, today's all about updates. Updates in sim racing, namely Rfactor 2, and updates in my life as well. So just quickly, if you haven't seen me for a while, online racing, there's a few people I've neglected, like the boys over at No Assists and Mark Pierce and the lads down under. Sorry you've not seen me. I haven't even been online with my mate Pete recently. Life's kind of exploded. Many things have changed. I'm trying to give up a bad habit. Well, I have given up a bad habit, which I'm feeling much healthier for. I've got my old job back, which I've been working at for the past 4 days, which is pushing punt tours on the River Cam. That involves a bit of driving, only at 3 miles an hour or 2 miles an hour, a bit slower than what we do in the sim racing world. That involves pushing a 1-ton boat, just a wooden plank of wood basically, with 12 humans on it, up and down the river in Cambridge, telling them about history, and you push it along with a 15-foot pole. Did 13.5 miles on that the other day, which is why I'm looking a little bit sunburned, because it was 34 degrees, even warmer out on the river yesterday. So that's going on. My music nights are happening again because the pubs are open because we're out of lockdown. So I'm preparing for that tomorrow. Done 4 days of the punting, got my day off today, doing the jam tomorrow, which is where I get together with a load of musicians in a pub and we play music for people. And so that's going on. I had a bit of a tragedy in life as well. So I'd like to dedicate this video, please, to Samantha Hewitt Ford. Love you, mate. Miss you, mate. Anyway, on to updates. So we've not only had Studio 397 come out with their 2020 July roadmap update, but we've had Rita Studios have also brought out a roadmap update for Automobilista 2. So we're going to be seeing BMWs and Mercedes, several free cars, F1 cars as well, joining the already extensive lineup. They're going to be updating the AI, so that's great. 4 days of work, and then I get my day off and get updates. But so today we're concentrating on Rfactor 2. And the roadmap update is it's telling us what we've got coming to look forward to, and also what we're getting now. We're getting some stuff now, so let's have a look at it. So one thing they've done is they've updated their Steam sales department, because a lot of people were a little bit upset, especially long-term customers, when a few of the packs, like the Gt3 pack, Challengers pack and 2 Strong pack, disappeared and were repackaged with other cars and tracks for the Steam sale. They have addressed that. They've been listening to the community. Nice one there, Studio 397. And they've now bought back those packs, and they're discounted. So you can now go and get the cars that you haven't got, add them to your collection for an even cheaper price. Well done there, brilliant. They've also announced that they will be bringing us the Gt3 Ferrari, and as we all know, for those of us who've got the GTE, it's fantastic. So looking forward to more of the same. And they have announced a car they've been keeping secret. It is the Bentley Continental Gt3 2020. And looking at the website here, looks good. They have also been doing their PBR magic with one of the older tracks. They've released that for us for free, and it's actually an old ISI track. So it was from an ISI before they handed over to S397, and it's Loch Drummond in Scotland. And I've got to stop doing that. I've always liked this track. Loads of elevation changes, as you'd expect in a hilly, mountainous place like Scotland, and quite technical. Lots of different types of corners on it, off cambers, over crests, that sort of thing. What they've done with it is they've given it the PBR update, so reflections and things are much better. They've added a score tower. We've got a big TV screen, like they've put at the, like at the Silverstone update. They've even made an adjustment to the AI on the uphill chicane. So what we're going to do is we're going to go there and have a look at it. Now, before we do that, thank you to everyone who watched my last video, which was the update for AMS2 and the brand new Hockenheim track. I've been having loads of fun there, really enjoying it. Thank you to everyone who watched it, because within 47 hours of it being up, it already had 255 views. So cheers. It's now at 300 and something. On that note, please, please, please do me a massive favour. Hit that subscribe button at the bottom of the video if you want to see more of these. Let me know what you think in the comments. You might want to moan at me about the sound, because my sound equipment's all my gear's sort of dying. But hopefully with this new job I can start affording some better equipment. Anyway, let's get out there and have a look, and we're gonna go there. We're gonna travel there and race around there in the Porsche GT3 Cup, because I saw it mentioned on a forum just recently in a conversation, and I thought, Porsche GT3 Cup, haven't raced that in a while. Used to race it a lot at Apple Valley Speedway, and I love them. They're great. It's a really challenging car, but it's so it gives you so much reward if you get it right with that car. So let's go and have a look, see what the new track's like, and have some fun in Scotland. Right, so here we are. Let's go and find our track. Here is the old version of Loch Drummond. As you can see there, Loch Drummond 1.1, and here's our new version, 1.23. So we'll choose that. Interesting little foible here. If you choose the new version, then go to your car, then go to your track, your settings, and then go back to your track for, I don't know, whatever reason. For some reason, it reverts right back to the old school Loch Drummond. So I don't know, maybe if you're happy with the new one, you might want to delete the old one, and that might stop that happening. Not quite sure why that's happening. But if you select it and then go to your car and your settings, it'll keep it. So we've got our Porsche, our 6-cylinder 3.8 Porsche. We've got 460 brake horsepower, which is more than enough for this track, because it's only a 2-mile long track. And the reason I've chosen this car, it's good for close racing, a nice single make series there. And also this track is, well, Scotland's mountainous and hilly, and this track's quite bumpy, so it gives us an opportunity to use a different specification of our car. So if we go to our tuning section, there are actually 3 different specifications for this car. Now this car is quite tight, it's really stiff. It's got pretty hard springs in the Super Cup. So there is also the endurance specification, which comes with soft or hard springs, and even with soft springs it's still pretty stiff. Now what the endurance specification brings us, as you can see from down here, the endurance package comes with softer springs compared to the Super Cup specification. It also gives us more downforce, 30 kilograms more weight, so that holds the car down a bit more. And it's a tiny little bit slower. And we've also got an ABS system. So I thought we'd use this version of the car because we're in Scotland, and guess what? Scotland's got weather. So what they say in Scotland is, if you don't like the weather, hang around for 5 minutes. So we're probably going to experience some rain. So ABS is going to be useful. So let's see, that's what we've got. So here we go. We're going to be using the default weather, and as you can see, look, there is rain forecast for the end of the race and in qualifying. We shall not bother with practice. Let's take that out, go straight to qualifying. We've got 15 AI, and we are at 90% AI strength. We have a new loading screen as well. There we go. The old loading screen was just kind of the track map. With this one, we get our track map and a nice picture of the starting grid. And you can probably tell already it's looking a hell of a lot nicer. The old track, I didn't ever think looked too bad. I love the track. But I tell you what, when you come out of the pits and you see the white walls of the pits, they almost blind you. It's like they're covered in anything white on the track. on the old track would it was like it was covered in some super reflective kind of, I don't know, icing sugar or whatever. The textures, the colors on this much more vibrant, but also duller where they need to be. Everything's just better. So I'm pleased to say that, of course. And here we are. Loading times in Rfactor are always a bit long, but it's always worth it when you get to your track. So here we are in qualifying. We're going to use the default setup. The default setting of this setup of this car is pretty twitchy. You're on the edge all the time. And I did make a setup for it which was a bit more comfortable, less camber. These cars run ridiculous amounts of camber. Look at that, -5 degrees negative camber there. That's a lot of camber. But we're keeping it like that because I've kind of got used to it, and it's a very challenging but very rewarding car once you get it right. Let's take our fuel down to just 10 laps. We're not going to be out there that long, and let's get out there and have a look. So here we are now. Look at that. Immediately things are looking good. The texture are looking nice. I've got textures down on low, by the way, because I've got a potato and my FPS suffers. But even with low textures, this track's pretty good. Now, talking of textures and graphics settings, you may be wondering if all of this new PBR shader stuff comes and updated track comes at a cost to your FPS. You're not worrying about that if you're running a 1080 Ti or one of the new Nvidia cards, the 20 series, 2000 series, but I'm on a potato, so if you are, you might be worried about that. It does come at a cost. The FPS takes a knock of about 25% if you put everything on full on the same settings that I could run, say, the old track on. I'd run them at full and it would run at a nice 65 frames per second, which we'll cap that. But it's not too bad, and everything does look better, so it's kind of worthwhile. The trees are looking, the foliage is looking much better. The buildings over here, the towers. Talking of the towers, you'll see lots of high electrical towers. These ones over here in front of us. The fictional story behind this track is that it's supposedly an old military base which became abandoned down here in the valley and then turned into a racetrack. The fictional story is quite funny. It says, you know, they've had racing here since the 1950s and possibly thousands of years before that. Now, they didn't have cars thousands of years ago, so I think that's Studio 397 having a little bit of a joke. I don't know, maybe they were, I don't know, racing horses, I don't know. But everything as we go round is looking much better. There's a bird flying in the sky there, I don't know if you noticed that. The textures of the track are looking similar. There's our new TV screen and our new grid tower, giving us our positions. I did start off, by the way, with these cars at 95% strength, and I had to lower them down a bit because they were hitting 121s, 120s, and the fastest I've managed to get around here with a little bit of practice has been 125, and also it might rain. So because I'm going to be talking to you whilst I'm driving, I'm going to have even less concentration on the driving, and that brings me to a point that you may find useful if you don't already know this. If you go to your difficulty here, one thing you can adjust in game is the aggression, and I've had to lower the aggression because the AI that comes with these cars are quite fighty, so I've lowered them down to 39. I've usually got them around 60 for most mods and most cars. But the strength, now it's got a little asterisk here and it says requires restart to take effect. I always thought that meant that you had to restart the whole track. So if you're at somewhere that takes ages to load, like Le Mans or Nordschleife, and you realised you're far too slow on the grid, you'd have to adjust your difficulty out. You'd have to come out of the track and adjust the difficulty. Well, you don't, because you can adjust your difficulty. Say we were already at 106 and we realised that was too slow and we want it at something more like 90. See if we get our lap times right. You don't have to restart or reload the track. You can just, you're in qualifying, you could just restart the weekend, like so. And now you've done that, the AI will be down at 90%, which is where we want them. And if you're in a race session, you just simply restart the race. But you make your change here with your AI strength before you restart. So if you didn't know that, then I hope that helps. It's made my Rfactor experience much easier. If you did know it, then you're cleverer than me, as most people are. So, just have another quick lap round the track. We're not going to bother doing qualifying. I don't mind starting at the back of the grid for this. I love the way the trees sort of move to you. The trees seem to turn around. So they've got the effect of being 3D, which I don't think they are, but they sort of turn to you as you go past them. There's a little bird in the sky there again. New things around the track that I've noticed are you've got new banners. They've changed the colouring of some of the sausage curbs. The shadows are much better. As I downshift the first there and lock the back wheels, almost lose it completely. I think this is the uphill chicane they are referring to, where they've made the AI change. So it'll be interesting to see how the AI tackle that in a race session. And also the kind of LED flags. There's one up here, just there, that has our lighting. There you go, we've got a yellow flag and it's flashing yellow, which it definitely should do because I've just reversed into a car coming towards me, so they're new. We'll restart that one, idiot. Tell you what, let's go straight to race. Let's talk about it whilst we're racing. So we'll simulate the end of the session. There we go. And go on to our race. What do we need? We've got. Have I already got 10 laps? Sorry, I meant to make it a bit shorter than that. I'll drive fast. It's a short track. It won't take too long. So I'm sticking in 13 laps of fuel because I'll probably waste some spinning my wheels, especially if it gets wet. We've got our slick tyres on because it's not wet at the moment, and we don't know if it'll rain or not because it's at a percentage. I like that about our Rfactor. You can set the percentage of rain to 100%, definitely will rain, or 50%, may rain, or somewhere in between. Good, that. So here we go. Now, as I said, the Porsche Cup I've raced quite a lot at Apple Valley Speedway, and if you get the Porsche Cup and you find it a bit difficult to drive because of these crazy cambers, the cambers are set up so the car can go as fast as possible round corners, but it does mean that under acceleration and brake, you've only got, if you're in a straight line, of course, you've got less of the tyre contacting the ground. And I think, so you might want to lower your cambers a bit if you want an easier time until you get used to those cambers. Because of that kind of camber, the cornering speeds are pretty good. And also they're pretty good over curbs. You can see the lighting here, the reflections off the road. are much better than the original track. Are we gonna make it past this fella? Who is that? Van Buren. We've made it past Van Buren. He's still there. No, we've got him. We've got him. There's there's our flashing green lights. There is our new television screen, although it doesn't seem to be working. It isn't showing anything on the TV screen there, right next to it.
41.75.
My spotter telling me I've got a 147.5 first lap, so it's going to be a bit slow. Oh, Porsche in front having a bit of a slide there. The thing I like about this track is these elevation changes. You've got a lot of off-camber corners, over crests. It's a really technical, challenging track. Spend a lot of time changing gear. Let's see how they deal with the uphill chicane here. Got someone on my right. Oh, it's got a slight touch for him, but I am pushing it a bit. He's still there. Can I keep it on the outside? Yes. Oh, someone's had a bit of a problem. Let's go around. I do have my AI as usual set up to make the odd mistake, which is the setting of the JSON file. We change from AI mistakes 0 to AI mistakes 1. I like that because I make the odd mistake, so I'm kind of happy if the AI do the odd one as well. Makes the racing interesting. You can see we're having door-to-door action here. Like I said, this Porsche Cup is great for close racing. Little bit aggressive, so just lower that aggression slider. The different levels of light I'm getting around the track. It's like the sun's going behind the clouds every now and then. It really is so much, it feels much more dynamic. The sausage curve there, that yellow sausage curve has changed. I think they were blue, just like the white and blue curving. So that stands out a bit more. This car, like I said, this with the softer springs, it deals with this bumpy track much better. It's much easier to drive than the Super Cup specification. Really eating those sausage curves there. Lumping around on them. Excuse my driving. But yeah, it really is much easier to drive on a bumpy track like this. I get similar lap times with this specification as I do with the harder setup, but this is just this is just easier for me to. It soaks up the bumps better. Maybe you could get a faster time with the stiffer setup, but you'd be on it constantly. And talking of being on it constantly, someone else has gone off. Talking of being on it constantly, if you're going to drive this car, you need to be. If you're going to travel it around a bit, you really need to be quick with your opposite lock, because if you're not, it's going to swap ends on you. But you can catch it if you're good with your opposite lock. Really makes you work. I absolutely love this car. The challenge of it is superb. Maybe we'll have an example or two of that in the race. I don't know. Knowing me, I won't try and induce it, because knowing me, I'll probably try and give you an example and then lose it and crash out totally. The sky's looking better, the grandstands are looking better. Oh, and we have taken our Lindland, is that? Lindland. So it tells me in the bottom right there of the screen, we've got Matteo, if I'm pronouncing that properly, in front of us. I think you can pick up these cars, by the way, for about $4.99, just for the single cars. Well worth it. Well worth it. They're quite different to the ones that come in the GT3 pack. Now, I've changed it to 6 there, I really shouldn't have done.
28.56.
You don't. Usually at the end of that straight, I'm just getting out of 5th, just changing into 6th before I've then got to slow right the way down to 2nd or 3rd gear for that sharp left-hander there. Then you can bring it around here with your foot flat down around that corner, and you're braking down into 2nd or 3rd. This corner here's our uphill chicane. You have to be careful with this chicane because you've got that right crest corner there, and you've got to get it so tight to just use that curb on the inside to bring you out straight, but you're so close to the sausage curb that it can lump you off. Oh, who's that gone off there? This corner here, I always, you know, you want to be braking by about the 100 board because it's such a tight corner, and a tight corner here, and then you can. Oh, we've got someone reversing back up the track. Watch out for you. You can then bury the hammer out of that corner. And as you can see, if I get my speedo up, in 5th gear, we're hitting about 140 mile an hour there in 5th gear, not even getting into 6th. On the brakes for the left, right, this long, tight corner that opens out. Got our hammer down. Yeah, you're hitting 140 at the end of that straight, but in the Super Cup car, you're actually hitting about 145. Remember, we've got that 30 kg extra weight in this car, plus you've got the extra downforce, and you bloody well need it for this track, folks, I tell you. We've got an off-camber long downhill corner there. This one's quite tight, a little bit of back end squirreling about there, and 100 meter board or 100 mark board. Braking for this corner that just seems to get even tighter as you go around it. Keeping the foot steady there. That corner tightens at the exit as well. Slow down for this corner. 2nd gear, 3rd gear, clip the apex, hammer down, and off we go onto the main straight. And here comes the rain. Because we're in Scotland and they have weather. Now let's see what happens to our FPS. We'll drop down to 36 FPS. So if you're running a potato, be aware of this. You can see the FPS in green in the top left hand corner. And I need to get my wipers on. But look at that, look at the... Oh! They weren't expecting the rain, obviously. Did you see how the sun came through there? We've got that, I think, bright sun on one side of the sky, and the clouds bringing down the rain on the other. The weather effects are really getting better in RF2. That's amazing. We've got bright sun and rain. I must say, whatever they're doing at the moment seems to be improving the FPS hit with the rain, because although we're dropping down to nearly 30 FPS, it's better than some of the old ISI tracks. You get such high FPS, but then massively low when it rains, and the difference is less now. It's drivable even on my potato, and I'll go as low as 30 FPS because, I mean, you know, that's going to be your frames per second of an old PlayStation or an old console, so that's acceptable for me anyway. I'd love to say it's totally unacceptable, and I won't accept anything less than 120 hertz screen and 120 hertz FPS, but I can't afford that. Hopefully with my job back I can maybe start thinking about that though. So here we are in Scotland and we have weather, and I'm on slicks, and the weather's, oh, the rain is coming down. Oh, stabbed the throttle there, I shouldn't have done. The rain is coming down quickly here at Loch Drummond, Scotland. Just mind him. I think we ought to schedule a pit stop. So let's do that. Cool. This is very slippery. Stay there. No. We have lost it. Let's get out of here before we get taken out. Spin around. Look at them squirreling about there. Let's pop up our track map down there to see how many of them pit as well. I love the way that the mountains seem to be disappearing in the mist of the rain there a little bit. Quite glad this happened because it's showing up off nicely, and it's also showing up off just how rubbish slicks are on a wet track. Oh, this is impossible. But one thing I do find in AMS 2, if you've got a really wet track, the AI don't seem to be affected by the puddles, and their acceleration doesn't change, whereas in Rfactor 2 I'm about as good with the AI in the wet as I am with them in the dry. So that shows off how good Rfactor 2's AI are. Let's get our pit speed limiter on. Whoa! And oh, he's in our pit box. What are we supposed to do here now? I'm behind. Our pit box is in use. I hope none of them need to come and use where I am at the moment. Well, this is I didn't really intend for a pit stop, but I'm kind of glad it's happened. It just shows off how dynamic this simulator, the feel of driving these cars in the rain, is amazing. It's really well simulated. It's really well done. We're pitting on. We've only got 2 laps to go, and we're pitting. I'm in 14th position. That's not going to last very long. Oh, just quickly make sure down the right hand corner that they do not repair the body. I haven't got time for that. Come on! There he goes. Thank you. Oh, a little bit of a spin as he comes out of there. He must have had some repair work to do as well as just tyres. Because by the looks of things, we're only going to be here for 24 seconds. I'm sure he was longer than that. We're now down in 15th position. We're gonna end up last in this, aren't we? Look at the pit lane. The pit lane's much better than it was as well. All of the fueling stations there looking a lot better. Oh, and I think we go. A little bit of a slide on the way out. Back end squirreling around. We've got to warm up these tyres. Here we go. Oh, we're in 14th position. We're not last. Oh, look at that track. It stopped raining. Saw that bird in the sky. Obviously, you always see that in the same place. Anyone else notice that? The rain textures on these new tracks, including the new version of Portland and Silverstone, looks really good. And I have noticed that there are areas where puddles seem to build up. These folks there do seem to be. There's one there on the left. There do seem to be puddles in Rfactor 2. There's no puddle sounds. I'm not sure what happens with the physics, but there are definitely areas on the track where the water collects. I totally forgot there was a corner there. Stupid boy. And let's let this fella go fast. Somehow we're still in
14th position. How will we not last? Oh! Our LED lights there are telling us the checkered flag is out, the race is over, so the race leader has already completed the race. That's a pity because I was hoping we'd get a few more laps so we could see that drying line appear on the track. That's just another thing I love about Rfactor, the trying to find the grip on the track. It's got the best real road system. And there we go. So that is the end of our race. I hope you've enjoyed that. Loch Drummond really looking good. Looking forward to these new cars that are coming along. The next video I shall try and do will probably be having a look at the stock cars. They really do feel a lot better. And these wet tyres feel a hell of a lot better than those slicks were. And there we go. I'm fighting with the wheel a bit. There we go. So you can catch a slide in these. Anyway, that's been me waffling on once again. Please subscribe if you're liking this. And I've not got as much time as I have done over lockdown to make these videos with having my job back, but seriously need to earn some money. So sorry about that, folks, but I shall keep making videos for you as much as I can. And I hope you're all doing well out there, and most of you are kind of getting back to normal a bit, and that you're all in good health. Such strange times we live in. Oh, I'll tell you what, Rfactor can be a frustrating beast at times, but it's so good when it's good. So, back to the pits, finishing up. Thanks very much, folks. Get out there, jump in a Porsche if you've got the pack. Like I said, I think it's only a £5 for these cars. And enjoy this new track. If you haven't, just choose the old Free Radical or something like that. I reckon they'd be perfect for this track. All the best, folks. Take care.